do you want?
Hello and welcome to another week of What the Fuck Do You Want? And this week, you are in for a treat. Instead of the same 10 people I get every week, I have a new voice. Who have I got?
Me?
Yeah, I've got fucking you. Tell me your name.
My name's Will. I'm here to talk to you today.
It's so odd having somebody with a real name. It's normally online monikers.
No, well, sure, even if it was an online moniker, it's going to be something woeful anyway.
More than likely. And how would the people know your lovely voice?
Oh, if they ever rang the Locker and Resort. Or Quinn Direct, but probably I would say nobody was looking for car insurance at the time that place was open, who may be in your listeners.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sure you would have looked after them.
Nah, not really. That's a story for another day.
And yes, if you can't tell, Will's from the same neck of the woods I'm from. The accent does tend to give us away.
Ever so slightly, but I usually get Donegal. What part of Donegal are you from?
I can get Donegal now and again.
That's quite a usual one, Donegal, because we don't have the scranny BBC Northern Ireland accent.
Not yet. I'm looking into getting lessons.
But that kind of up that neck of the woods. They all have the same generic accent.
Just once I get the cold and the nose blocks up, that'll be me.
No, you couldn't compare yourself to them. But anyway, we're not here
I'm
to
trying me fucking best here.
Trying not to chat about accents. We're going to get ourselves in a handling with locals.
Oh, imagine that. Fuck them. Once they work out how podcasts work, I'm fucked. As usual, we're bringing somebody on to talk about something for half an hour. Will, what the fuck do you want?
I want monkey dust. Or at least some form of a show that's like Monkey Dust. Monkey Dust, a product of its time when you watch it back now. But yeah, we need something with that level again.
Yeah, I wanted to rewatch this for the episode and ran into difficulty. Because I always like to try and find legal means. Mm-hmm. So you can turn around to somebody and say, well, if you set your VPN to Brazil and watch it on a certain network, you could watch it that way. I couldn't fucking find Monkey Dust anywhere.
First series is only the only thing on DVD, and that's it.
Yeah.
So technically, the second series and third series, you're not doing anything illegal because it was never released or never shown again.
Yes. So torrent it.
Yes, or as you did, what was it? Internet
Archive.
Archive. That was fantastic. Apart from it wouldn't cast to the TV, but no big deal. But it was.
The fuck do you want for nothing?
I know, and it had the original soundtrack on it too, which is a big part of that show.
Monkey Dust, bit of a strange one. We have overseas listeners. What's the summary?
The summary is set from 2003 to 2005, roughly, in Great Britain, you could say. Well, Ireland gets a mention here and there, but it's really focused. It's a very, very heavy British satire with a big mirror looking at how society is and how people are. A very heavy taboo show.
Yeah, even the Wikipedia entry, I was going through it. It's like, and to quote, the series is infamous for its dark humour, frequent shifts in animation styles, and handling of taboo topics such as bestiality, murder, suicide, and paedophilia.
It's an average night out with the BBC then, isn't it? It was broadcast on there. So that was another thing as well, where it was broadcast and how it was broadcast. It was only broadcast on BBC 3, maybe even was it BBC Select at the time. You're getting into this kind of era of class BBC shows. You spoke about 15 Stories High before.
Yeah, I love BBC 3.
Mighty Bush would have come out, roughly in around the same time Monkey Dust was out. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of comedy like that on any broadcast. I know, probably people would be like, oh yeah, there's YouTube shows and stuff, but it's not fucking TV.
It's really not the same.
It's not the fucking same whenever you're trying to broadcast it to a load of people and they just flick over and see the horror of what the hell is this on my screen. You don't have that with any kind of web shows now. It's your choice to watch it, which isn't the same as broadcasting it to a nation.
Because I'd say the only thing streaming wise would have been the Fat Pie cartoons would come close to it.
I don't think I'm aware of those.
Salad Fingers.
Oh, Salad Fingers. Face. Yes, sorry. Yeah.
It's the guy that makes that. But that would have been the only similar thing for quality and shock factor, really.
Yeah, it was shock factor. If you've never seen Monkey Dust, one way I always described it to people was if you were in kind of first year, second year of university and you went to somebody's house and you wanted to watch Monkey Dust with the people you were there to visit, you just put it on in front of everybody and they'd leave the room after a couple of scenes.
Yes, this is how you gauge reactions. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, nope,
Yeah.
you're just not made to be my friend.
How far could you get? The depressed dad one or the divorcee dad one? That was usually
But that was like an early one in the first episode. That was a real tester.
I'm going like scene wise. I think it's like scene 3 or 4 in episode 1.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Oh, it goes in straight away. Like I think the opening scene is the PR company who are trying to redo the fire brigade, who later redo the Royal Mail. And the guy who's, like their creator of all the names, he has this, what would you call it? His moment of clarity, always at the most extreme times. So if he's on like the top of the Himalayan mountains or he's on a ship sailing across the sea, that's when he'll come up with his names.
Come in with the great names under distress or pleasure.
Yeah, I think...
Was it the company called Labia, or am I just...
No, yeah, you're right, Labia, yeah.
You wouldn't think I just watched this last week. Memory is fantastic.
Isn't it? But the show, it does shift, because I watched it the wrong way round as such, because I've seen Series 1 so many times. So it was like, right, I'm going to start at Series 3 and go back. So I don't know how much you want to talk about the content of what series or...
Yeah, it's a strange line to walk because I wouldn't like to spoil this for people that haven't watched it yet, trying to describe things. But because it's a sketch show, if you talk about them at all, you're going to give it away. Like Timmy and his dad.
Yeah.
What makes that brilliant is the punchline.
The punchline's brilliant, and then it's the post-punchline, if that's a thing. Do you know when Timmy usually
it's just the
changes?
I would say classic misdirection, but no, you don't fucking get that.
You can kind of see where it's going every time, but it's going to be, what does he say? What does the little boy say?
And then by the end of the series, they mix all their sketches up and they don't end the way they intended. It's fucking superb.
Yeah, well, even watching back at... I'm jumping about series here, but watching back at Series 1, they kind of wrap up everybody's story arc in the 5th episode of the season. So, for example,
do you think they
Ivan
didn't
Dubsky,
intend to get another series, or was that just a natural way of going?
I don't know, actually. But you would say content-wise, for the first series alone, like, how the hell would you say to anybody, oh yes, we've greenlit you for another two series? Like, yeah, that wasn't dark enough.
I suppose we should mention this show. They did pitch it many, many years ago, but with the cost of animation, they just could not get the green light.
Yeah, that was something only finding out just doing a bit of reading before coming to chat to you about it today, that yeah, he'd been trying since the early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
I think you need to make out, sorry to anybody listening, the reason why Series 1's only available on DVD, because once Series 2 and 3 came out, the co-creator died. So that's why
Spoiler.
Well, it's not really a spoiler. It's like people will be wondering, well, what's so bad? Can't they get it in Season 2 and 3? It wasn't banned or anything like that. It's just never got an agreement to go out, and they're never going to show it on TV again. Ever.
Common reason given was the terrorist. I forget the name of the sketch.
You're going to have to look that up.
Sneaky Google.
You're going to have to. What his terrorist name was? So,
while
you're looking that up, do you want me to give a description of what we're chatting about?
Oh yeah, work away.
So,
seamless.
Yeah. Did they appear late Series 2 for the first time? Or mid-Series 2?
Beginning Series 2, aren't they?
Is it? If anybody has seen the movie Four Lions, that'll be a very good description. Chris Morris has taken Four Lions pretty much from this sketch. And chronologically, yes, that is right. This is, 2004 or so that would have been done. So it's about...
Wikipedia has them listed as the incompetent terrorists.
And what's the main guy? What's his name? Does he not have a name? Whenever he's
Omar, Abdul and Shafiq.
Yeah.
The International Revolutionary Jihad for the Liberation of the Islamic Republic of Great Britain.
Yeah.
That was bandied about a lot, apparently because this was such a strong presence throughout Series 2 and 3. They didn't want to publish it en masse.
Yeah. Well, they're 3 kind of young Brummy lads who have just been taken up by a local wannabe cell, but they do all the terrorist activity from the house, and the mother's the nicest woman you could meet. She's always trying to cook for them, and she's always asking.
It's always like turkey dippers.
Yeah, McCain Twizzlers and stuff like that. But she's so innocent in it. I love her innocence. because I'm not going to do the Brummie accent, but she always asks them, how's your jihad going today? And where's your next jihad planned? And they always have these very, very distinct plans, but every plan always gets ruined by what West Brom's either doing in the FA Cup or the League Cup. That at the end of the day, that's all that matters to them.
I said at one stage they're talking about stars in their eyes, and this is why they don't go through with their plot.
Don't they turn up as the darkness?
Yeah.
At one stage, but your man tells them that they're going to rain the darkness upon everybody, so that's why they turn up as the darkness. Do you know how many times it took me watching that to get that?
After certain terrorist attacks in London, apparently, people didn't find it as funny as they did the first time.
Well, you can't really say too much. I mean, we don't have a comedy show here yet.
Oh, well, we had it for a bit longer than they did.
Yeah, but I mean a good comedy show, like actually about set in the Troubles time. There's one there.
Oh, well, there's still time yet. We can get pen to paper, write one ourselves.
I was going to say, there still has to be.
Yeah, we only have to be better than Give Me a Headpiece, so it's a low bar.
It was, but it was 90s humour and kind of, what would you say, post-Good Friday Agreement. Nobody knew how to take it or look at Northern Ireland, so it was like, oh, that joke will do, it's fine.
Fucking Protestants.
I'm not going to say anything.
Not in a recording.
Not in a recording with a name like William Stewart. For fuck's sake.
Digital animation took off. This is why the show could come about. And it's not to be mean to any of the animators of the show. It's rough and ready. A lot of the animation looks very cheap, but that is part of its charm.
It is part of its charm. If it wasn't that way, it would look either too Americanized or too put into a studio. I think the roughness of it at times led you down the path of like, shit, has anyone actually vetted this to see if we're meant to be watching this? Or not, or did you just slip under the radar? It has that roughness, but the very polished bits of animation in it really, really stand out.
Yeah, because it basically is a sketch show. Each episode's broken up into recurring sketches that will happen again throughout the series.
Yeah.
And each character has a different animation style, so you can kind of tell what's coming up just by looking at it.
By looking at it as well. I think one thing to mention as well is it is a sketch show as such, but it's a seamless sketch show.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't jump cut, or it doesn't go like, oh, here's the next person.
They actually have a lovely mechanic, and I only really noticed it when I was rewatching it there. The end of one sketch kind of ties over to the next.
That's what I kind of mean, yeah. It's like a seamless.
Stamp all over your point.
But you know what I mean? Like one noise, say,
oh yeah, it just
a TV.
It makes it feel like it's all done in-house together. They're actually connected at the seams rather than, say, 7 different shows kind of stitched together. It actually feels a bit smoother.
When you're watching it as well, it feels like one enclosed space, like all those characters enclose that space but in their own style. If you know what I mean, like the way you're able to go from the guy who makes all the excuses.
Oh, of course. What is he, Clive?
Yeah, Clive, where have you been? Would you like to call out any of Clive's excuses there to give the listener some idea of what are the excuses that Clive gives?
Well,
when he's
Clive
away,
comes home and he starts explaining about this journey he went on with a group of friends where they had to fight off miscreants and climb a mountain and throw a ring into a volcano, and his wife stops him and corrects him that this is the plot from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, what's the kind of things then he really would be doing?
Being the soggy biscuit in a circle jerk.
That's a running theme. It seems to be every week how degraded that man can be, and that's the thing. That's the punchline with Good Clive. You know that it's going to be something horrendous every single time. Also, working out what his lie is good as well. I think one of them is the plot to Hotel California. One of them's an episode of the A-Team. One of them is the Book of Revelations.
Yeah, and I love the wife knows it for the A-Team one. It's like she knows the series and episode number.
Yeah, it's like that was series 2, episode 4 of the A-Team. And I think she even titles the episode too. She knows what it is. But to get back, like Clive's scene, for example, the camera can pan out and it goes over to Cromarsh with Ivan Dobsky, who's the poster child of Monkey Dust, really.
I tried finding some artwork for this show because I like making different podcast covers.
Yeah.
Just to there's nothing for this show.
What did you find? Just a load of pictures of people fucked off their tits on Monkey Dust?
Pretty much, yeah. But,
yeah.
Save that to the hard drive, get back to it, get back on the horse. But Ivan's the only one that seems to be the main one.
Well, he kind of he's the poster child of it because only season 1 ever came out, and the DVD, anyone that ever seen Monkey Dust or knows anything about it knows that front cover.
It's his fucking voice too. As soon as you hear it, that's stuck in your brain for life.
Yeah, the free Ivan Dobsky concert. It's absolutely superb with Billy Bragg.
Oh, of course.
Billy Bragg doing his best Billy Bragg impression. Who else at it? Nelson Mandela is there, and Bono's there.
Of course.
Do you want to give away the plot of what Ivan's story is and why he would have a concert about him?
I suppose we can mention that Ivan is in prison because he's referred to as the meat-safe murderer.
Yeah.
Despite his quite obvious innocence.
He never done it, and they only said that he done it for numerous hilarious reasons.
So they'd take the power pack off his nipples.
Yeah.
So they'd take several things out of his rectum.
Take his cock out of the bacon slicer. It's one of my favourites. The idea of how close he got before it turned that thing off. But in a lot of them, what would you say? He's been in jail since the 70s, and this is set in early 2000s. So about 30 years of incarceration, and he doesn't know any difference from the 70s.
Life on Mars in reverse. It's not even a policeman. It's a criminal going into the future.
Yeah, and you can leave it at the fact that all he wants to do is get back to his cell. He doesn't like the world anymore because it's not the 70s.
He's got a Mr. Drummond would be his main officer looking after him.
Yeah, the kind of prison warder.
Yeah, and there's this strange father-son relationship between them.
Yeah, there is this kind of he's growing up alongside him.
And Mr. Hoppy, of course.
Well, he's on the front cover, but Mr. Hoppy later on is the reason for his split personality. But you're chatting. One of the things I was going to say to you before we recorded was, yes, it has characters, but did you notice rewatching as well, there was some standalone stuff? So you would have, say, just one scene that wasn't really relevant, never appeared again. There was one that stuck with me really bad, which was the guy called himself the Element Murderer. Do you remember seeing that?
I rewatched it. I can't recall.
Right, I think it's series 1. I think it's late in series 1. So it's just this random sketch of these two cops, and they're chatting about, that's the work of the work of the Element Murderer. And they're walking down the street, and then there's the guy lying sleeping in the car after doing a bit of murdering, and the cop catches him, but he's so engrossed that he wants to actually work out.
Oh, this is such a letdown. I had a load of clues I was going to leave lying about. We were going to have this big showdown on the roof of somewhere.
Roof, yeah, that was it. We're going to have a showdown, or I wanted it in a fairground in a Hall of Mirrors. Yeah, so you just have that one random scene, and it's the idea that the police are going to let this guy off for his murders, and even to the point where he sends his colleague away to get him jump cables. That's when the guy hits him on the back of the head with a hammer.
Somewhat dark humoured, this show.
It's fantastic, though. But that's what I'm saying to you about why it appeals to me to get something like that back. But it won't ever go on TV.
The one that tickled me was the pub that kept rebranding. Brian.
Yeah, with the Irish English owner who, whenever they turned it into an Irish bar, wasn't Irish enough.
Oh, where'd the Irish lad that used to work here go? Wasn't Irish enough. That actually fucking happened to me in Canada. I was the wrong type of Irish. I was applying for a bar job.
What do you mean by the wrong type of Irish?
I said pint instead of point.
Oh, right, okay. You didn't have the authentic.
No.
Why would you want to go to Canada, though?
Because I had GCSEs. I wasn't going to go to Australia.
True.
Pedo Finder General.
The Sun newspaper and the Star, really? Isn't that what it's meant to be? Kind of.
By the power vested by the Suns.
Yeah, what was one of his? By a power invested in me by a poll taken on Sky News this afternoon.
The text vote?
Yeah, Pedo Finder General. That's it's a weird one, as in I don't actually find that sketch overly funny.
It's so memorable.
Oh no, it is memorable because of that, but I mean it's not kind of one of those, it's like, oh, here he is calling everyone a paedophile.
That tickles me. That's all it takes.
It was tickling. I just think for the show it probably gets a wee bit too much credit, or a little bit too much, what would you say?
Well, I think
shine to it.
It's the first series I watched on the build up to this, so I don't think they'd milked it completely to death at that stage. Like, it continues on.
Like the song
2 and 3, doesn't it?
The song and dance number really bugs me.
But I think it was a fan favourite, so it just kept coming back. That was one of the ones that would get quoted a lot.
Just pure fan service all the time.
Was it tied in with the scene, and it's one of my favourite, where they're bringing the prisoner out to the paddy wagon and the whole crowd fucking freaks out and starts smashing the side of it. They pick up kids and throw it at the van.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's tied in with his, but I love that. And then it drives away and who was that? I don't know, but he had black hair. Fucking black-haired bastard.
I'm doing a quick look at other characters here that I'm thinking about that I have missed.
We're on pedophiles, the pedophile chat room.
Well, there's actually quite a, when you think about it now, there's a lot, because you have Daisy Harris as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The father who clearly done it, and the mother just sits with one single spotlight on her, constantly smoking fag after fag after fag, knowing that he done it.
Glaring at him.
Yeah, just glaring. And the police every time delighted. We managed to blame someone this time.
Thanks to the description.
Yeah. There is some things in it, though, that don't stand the test of time. Truthfully.
Yeah, I had this worry going in. The cottaging one, I thought, would ring as overly homophobic on a rewatch.
I see where you're coming from. I think it's more his innocent naivety doesn't make it.
Well, that's it. It's him that's ashamed of it. No other character shames him. And it just...
True, actually.
Just quite... Ooh, this actually aged quite well. They say, just get out there and suck cock. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Nobody was stopping him apart from him.
I like that maybe looked a bit too deeply into it, but the only thing holding ourselves back is ourselves.
What was there? Him? There's other things in it that didn't age so well.
What have you got for me? Hit me.
The cab driver. The kind of Indian, Asian cab
driver.
Oh,
fuck yeah.
And the only joke there is he doesn't understand English.
Because it was this... Right? He boasted about what he did back where he came from.
Yeah, it's like, I'm the inventor of the Hoover, or I'm the greatest doctor, or whatever.
But it was the thinnest pretense just to laugh at somebody with an accent.
Yeah, it was. There's a few bits like that. When you go back and watch, particularly the first one, I know the terrorist cell, you can, what would you say? You can easily poke fun at that, but that was just about them being bumbling idiots. And every time they just enjoyed the kind of
it was kind of like the Three Stooges, but given a different ethnicity.
Yeah, it was a bit. I enjoyed watching again Kelly Work Experience Girl.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
She's fucking brilliant. They ask her to sort the boxes into large and small, and she just sticks a fork in the sock. That's the joke.
Watch the kettle until it boils. Why have you got your head in the toilet? I'm on Work Experience.
I think we're going to have to obviously discuss as well the Irish element to the show.
What?
The Irish element to it. So
must we?
Of course. So you have that, the Diary of Anne Frank as well, which is... I absolutely love that. So it's, what would you say? It's Anne Frank and her merry band of Irish Jews are captured.
Yes, they're caught because they can hear the fucking Cayley through the fucking walls.
Yeah, what's the clip you sent me?
I will insert it into the show here.
You can kill our families, but you'll never kill the crack. Silence.
That's it. Yeah. You've got me thinking now, but the way that blends into other series. The arc of series 2, the biggest arc of series 2 is People on the Toilet.
That is another rebrand by Labia, isn't it?
Or possibly, or the other one that comes in is The Broadcaster, which is kind of like obviously them ripping the shit out of the head of the BBC.
Yeah. But it was at that stage where reality TV was getting fucking stupid.
It was. You were kind of, I suppose...
We did mention it at the start of the show. It is a lampoon on culture at that time, and it is a really fucking disgustingly accurate portrayal at times. Kind of
the woman that they portray in the show is called People on the Toilet, and it is as complex as it sounds. It's cameras of people shitting. And one person, is it Fran, is her name? And she's the one that rises to the top. She's pretty much Jade Goody, isn't she?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, bar not having cancer and being alive.
Well, if it got series 4, it could have developed as a plot point. David Baddiel.
David Baddiel, famous comedians can do anything.
I resent that.
as a famous comedian, or as a famous podcaster, I should have said, if you were famous. But that's why you have me here.
He is a fucking famous podcaster now, the bastard.
Who, Badil?
Yeah,
Oh,
ruining
okay.
it for everybody.
Just chatting about Badil, there's a great segue for the Nazi grandfather one.
Another one, the punchline's so obvious, but you're there for it every time.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of this sketch, very simple, is it's a very old white-haired man, and his daughter is trying to usually put him into a care home, or maybe he had a court appearance or something like that. And the one line is, "Grandad, please dress nice." But his nice dress is an SS uniform.
Oh, I only have one suit, and I don't know if I can still fit into it.
The one suit, my favourite of all his sketches, is the one where they bring him to the nursing home, and they introduce everybody in the nursing home, and you see everybody in the nursing home pissing themselves and shouting, "Die Singer, Die Singer."
Well, I suppose before we kind of go through every single sketch and ruin the punchline, we'll get to that point. What would you like to see in the future? This is imagination time.
You can't obviously have it anything like it because Harry Brooks dead, for a start, so you need to clear that up. It would have to be from a fresh source, or possibly people who worked on the show, or at least the animation style is huge in it. And one thing that we really haven't touched at all is the soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack is way ahead of its time and featured some artists and some acts who weren't famous when it was broadcast first.
Yeah, and
But
this was another thing. Getting rights for it for second pressings or DVDs apparently was incredibly difficult. But
yeah, I'm sure when some of the artists seen what their music
what it was being paired to.
Yeah, like, I'm sure lots of people would have been happy with it, but some were not going to be happy with how, as you said, how it was paired together. Something with a good mirror to look at all the aspects of society in UK, Ireland, whatever you want to say today.
Yeah, because that one they had that was basically like the segment on the NHS, like that still packs a punch today.
It's frightening when you see it now.
Yeah.
What, nearly 20 years later, and it's almost like a roadmap of what's about to happen. And that's meant to be an animated satire.
So you didn't think this silly comedy would be quite prophetic,
It is.
But yeah, it is.
And there's loads of stuff that we haven't touched on. You could wax lyrical for hours about some of the sketches in it, and like the one-off. We said about the one-off that never happened again.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of those you would need to write them down to be able to even talk.
Okay, it was a bit of a tightrope. You don't want to ruin punchlines because yes, if you haven't picked up on this, recommend it fully. Go out, find it, download it.
It's an absolute must watch. There's going to be parts of it now probably some people listening to this really won't like, because it is quite close to the bone. And I think at the time...
Yeah, but they're probably paedophiles themselves.
That's not even the darkest bits of it. As you said, like...
No, it's really not.
As you said, like the NHS stuff is quite damning when you watch it back now, and kind of how the walls of everywhere like always infect themselves. It's good.
What a cheery note to close out on.
Yeah.
This is quite handy because normally people have a show to plug or some social media handles, but...
Nah, nothing.
Yeah, fuck, that's so swift.
Couldn't give two fucks.
This is great. This is why I should get more normies on.
Oh, that's a normie class is a normie, thanks.
Oh, what the fuck do you want? You're nothing special.
I know that, but...
Save the insults just for the end. I've got the episode now.
Oh, insult away. You could have insulted any time through it. You've done that for years anyway. Right. So why wait till it's being recorded?
I might get you back for a second one.
Really?
Desperate for material.
Why, what could you do a second episode about? Any show in particular?
What could we do indeed?
Any show you'd like to talk about there?
Oh, I don't know. I could check the back catalogue, see if there's anything rattling about.
I don't know. Would there be any other possibly very offensive animated shows you'd want to talk about?
Well, I'm an awful fan of the Boondocks. Have you ever watched that?
We're going to have to cross that at some point, yeah. We're going to have to do it.
Yes.
Don't know how.
It's just, one of us is going to have to get cancelled. I think it should be you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a struggle.
The next one's the Boondocks then.
Yes. We'll start planning out how we're going to tiptoe around certain elements of that.
Oh, and it's Boondocks season 1 to 3. The fourth one doesn't count.
I only count the first one.
What, the first series?
Yeah, love it. Got a bit too sitcom after that. But we'll save it for the next episode. Well, it's been an absolute fucking delight.
It has. It took long enough to get on here, and I said the antiquated setup that we're using, as you've seen. But we're here. We got it.
We are here. That's all that matters.
Thanks for having me.
you are more than welcome. But I'm afraid, until next time, get fucked.
I'm the meat safe murderer, only I never done it. I only said that I did because they promised that they'd give us back me fingernails.